5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Put everything down and crank your speakers up.
It's time for
The Realest Podcast.
Oh yeah!
We got us a new world champion!
And what is going on, guys? You're listening to the Realest Podcast, and welcome to the Money in the Bank Results Show. The title says it all. Yes, Baron Corbin is Mr. Money in the Bank. I apologize for the show being late, obviously, as Andrew had some meetings to take care of. So we're here now. From what you saw, though, Andrew, what did you think of the pay-per-view tonight?
I thought the pay-per-view was very well put together. I pretty much enjoyed the whole bottom half of the card. And I even saw parts of the Jinder Orton match, and I was impressed by that too. And I've been really impressed with Jinder lately and how he's carrying himself as a champion and how much he's getting. So I think SmackDown's going in the right direction. I think Money in the Bank went into the right direction today.
Yeah, obviously starting off tonight was the females or the women's Money in the Bank match, which ended, and James Ellsworth. This is what a lot of people are upset about, and I'll tell you why I'm okay with it. James Ellsworth climbs up the ladder after knocking Becky Lynch off the ladder, as she clearly has a clear shot to the Money in the Bank contract. James Ellsworth comes into the ring, knocks her off the ladder, looks at Carmella, sees she's unfit to get the Money in the Bank contract. So what does he do? He goes up on the ladder, grabs Money in the Bank contract, throws it down to Carmella. That is how she is now Miss Money in the Bank. What everybody's upset about is that the quote-unquote a man decided this instead of the women. My take is it gives it storytelling. We're all mad, which is what they want. We're heated about it. And there's going to be good storytelling coming up on Tuesday because Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan obviously tweeted about it.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, I've watched several ladder matches, especially Money in the Bank ladder matches. And the one thing that I've always asked myself, in a lot of these matches, especially like the where the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and Hardys went into like a triple threat TLC match, and every single one of them had someone interfere in the match. And at times I was thinking about, what would happen if Rhino would have went up, grabbed the briefcase, and handed it to Edge and Christian? Would they technically be the winner? Under the rules of the ladder match, there is no disqualification, so any single person can grab that briefcase and hand it to whoever the heck they want. And technically, by the rules of no disqualification, they are Mr. or Mrs. Money in the Bank in this case. So even if it was a man or James Ellsworth who gave Carmella the briefcase, somebody went up, unhooked the briefcase, and gave it to Carmella.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that, again, it gives them heat.
Yeah, and
the big argument was, obviously with the referees and what the story they're going to try to tell is he wasn't in the match, he shouldn't be allowed to do this. Well, he did it, and it's one of those things that's never been done before, so it's like,
right,
what happens? So, obviously, storytelling, we're going to find out more on Tuesday. She will probably, in about 90% sure, she'll remain Miss Money in the Bank.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they put her and Becky in a match to determine who the real Miss Money in the Bank is, and Carmella just wins after that, just to further storytelling.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing stuff on it right now, and, right here, the Inquisitor, this is obviously, they'll say if it's their opinion or not. In their opinion, WWE's Money in the Bank match, in the worst way possible, slapped the entire women's division in the face. I
disagree with that. I highly disagree with that. I think that was a smart move on their behalf because they're setting up the storyline. I mean, if you look at it, Edge, he got so much heat when he won the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. And that was because the fan favorite was Chris Benoit at the time. And Edge came out of nowhere, hit him in the bad arm, and stole that briefcase.
Well, for me, the only thing I'll say negatively about it is the fact that I think it makes Carmella look better. Excuse me, if she goes up and grabs the briefcase, it does get annoying, and this is the same thing I've said about the New Day, same thing I said about Kevin Owens. It gets annoying to when all we see is the person in their corner interfere, and I get that that's the point. They want you to be annoyed by it, but don't you? At points, don't you want that heel or that person to look strong? Roman Reigns, blessing us with his presence once again, says this was a weird pay-per-view. Don't know what to think of it. Again, I thought it wasn't bad. The only negative thing I'll say is the finishes were probably really wonky. And that's probably the only super negative thing I'll say about it.
No, what do you mean by the finishes were wonky?
James Ellsworth goes up and, takes it, gives it to Carmella. That was kind of wonky, kind of weird.
I applaud that because it's like I said, ever since I was a kid, watching these ladder matches, I always wondered about the third parties and why they didn't just grab the titles and hand it to their officiate instead of like trying to take somebody else out of the match. So for me, this finish isn't wonky. I think that this is great, compelling storytelling. Carmella gets so much heat for this because she didn't do it herself and James Ellsworth did. So, like, for me, it's like, all right, so the storyline going forward is going to be her versus Becky for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And they're going to see who really deserves to have it. And James Ellsworth is probably going to be barred from ringside.
A great tag team match. The Usos just walk out of the ring and say, we'll just take the 10 count. That was
Until that point was fantastic.
I like
it. Was probably one of the better tag team matches.
It's like, whoa, like this is how it's
I mean, it was a good decision. Yeah, it was wonky, but I was okay with it because it means that they're going to keep going with it.
The women's match was a bit odd. I like what they did with the women's match. Obviously, Carmella walking out acting as if she's going to cash in, which everybody thought that she would. And obviously she doesn't, kind of teasing the fact that she can do that. Lana loses. Really quick match. Naomi basically had her way with her. That sounded really dirty. It's not what I meant. And Naomi picks up the victory. Kind of another like wonky finish. But I get the idea. Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton. Randy Orton focuses up on the brothers and just demolishes them. And once again, same thing that happened last time. Mahal takes advantage of it, and then boom, it's over. Now, the Money in the Bank match, I thought, ended solid.
So explain to me how everything went through, because that was the one match I missed in its entirety.
All right, so Money in the Bank. During Shinsuke Nakamura, everybody enters the ring except for Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura's music hits. He starts walking down to the ring. Baron Corbin blindsides him and basically takes him out of the match for about 85% of it. So it's basically a 5-man, a lot of high spots. Probably my favorite high spot of the night was AJ Styles had the briefcase in his hand. Dolph Ziggler comes out from underneath, takes a ladder out from underneath. He's hanging on by the briefcase basically, or by the chain. Tries to lift himself up to unlock the briefcase to take it off. And then at one point his arms give out and he just falls flat in the ring. A lot of good high spots in this match. This match was really solid. I think Dolph looked good, Sami Zayn looked good, Kevin Owens looked good. Of course, Kevin Owens went through a ladder because that's what, he goes through ladders all the time. AJ Styles looked good. Toward the end of the match, Shinsuke Nakamura, Baron Corbin's at the top of the ladder. Shinsuke's music hits. Shinsuke comes down. Kinshasa's just about everybody but AJ Styles. Then the moment that stole the show for me. Shinsuke's at the ladder. AJ Styles enters the ring at the other side of the ladder. Crowd's going nuts. Both men pick up the ladder and move it out of the way. Look at each other with that sign of respect, and then start beating the hell out of each other. The Baron Corbin, they're both on the, and then they start climbing the ladder after they start beating the hell out of each other. By the way, AJ Styles reverses a Kinshasa into a phenomenal forearm. They both start climbing the ladder. Baron Corbin knocks them both off, goes up. grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase, which for a little bit he had a lot of trouble with. He did have trouble with getting it because it was sort of like it's taking a really long time. And then grabs it. Now Baron Corbin is Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and that's such a smart move and a smart investment in Baron Corbin. As like we said, like he started off to the point where we're kind of confused on whether or not he's going to make it as a main event talent. And now Baron Corbin has sort of proved everyone wrong in the sense that people are starting to see why the WWE has had faith in him going forward.
Yeah, and Justin LeBar responding to a fan as I scroll through Twitter to see what more people are saying about the pay-per-view. He's responding to somebody, Nikki Broke, his Big Yeti ISD. He says, or he or she, sorry, I'm not going to look. So he or she says, what was the difference between him grabbing it and her getting up and grabbing it after they cheated? Oh, right, got to devalue the women. Justin LeBar responds, it's to start a story which has all the women mad, which makes sense. And Carmella is now enemy number one. Good heel position for her.
Exactly. She has so much heat because of this. That's why I'm okay with it. I think that's a really good ending for it because, yeah, it's not the historic, Charlotte takes the briefcase and wins it like everybody wanted it to be. It's Carmella who won, of all people, thanks to the help of James Ellsworth.
People that are listening to this show, if you ever tweet at somebody that, for one, makes a living off talking wrestling like Justin LeBar, please don't tweet this. Last, WWE is never going to hire your dumb ass, so stop trying to justify stupid shit, suck their dick.
Wow.
That's
unprofessional.
Well, Justin LeBar didn't say that. That was the fan.
Oh, that was a fan, yeah.
What I'm saying is if you're a casual listener and you enjoy wrestling and you want to talk to somebody that talks wrestling, don't do that.
Yeah, respect their opinion for one.
Don't do that. I highly recommend you don't do that. So, again, I thought it was a solid Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Again, the only negative thing I'll say is the finishes were kind of weird. But at the end of the day, I think the worst match on the card was the women's match. I thought the women's Money in the Bank match was good. You could tell that they really didn't know what to do with the fact that they were, in a ladder match. I'm pretty sure I've never seen a women's ladder match before. So
it's the first time ever, so.
So you could tell that they were kind of, off. They were using the ladder a lot as a weapon. So, altogether, I thought the WWE Championship match was good between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. The story they were trying to tell was obviously including Cowboy Bob Orton. I will say one of the best RKOs I've ever seen was the one he jumped off the table and put one of the brothers through another table. That was a brutal RKO.
Mm-hmm.
Very brutal RKO. But I'm not upset about it. They obviously played he injured his knee angle, and Jinder Mahal walks out champion. And it's easy to show or to tell that at SummerSlam we're more than likely going to see John Cena versus Jinder Mahal.
Right. I would actually like to go back to the women's championship match because I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are about Lana and her debut. Was it all what it was cracked up to be? Was it a depressing debut? What's your thoughts on that?
Personally, I really didn't care for it. I thought it was. I think she needs to work her way up. Still, she has a lot of work to do, and she needs to change her outfit. That is one. I think her outfit is way too tight down low because there's pictures of something showing. I'll tell you where.
Well, for me, all I thought of when she came out into her music and her entrance, all I thought was Eva Marie.
Her entrance sucks. The music sucks.
Well, the music's terrible, but she comes in and basically combines some weird little come here with the kisses, which is Eva Marie's thing. I don't know. It's just the entrance was off for me. It seemed like she was very inexperienced in the ring, which I expected. But I don't know. I feel like as much as I understand why they put Lana in that position, I don't think that they should have put her in that position so quickly. It made no sense to me why she was in the main title picture. And judging by her wrestling, And like, it's not that she was bad. It's not that she was terrible. I feel like they kind of jumped the gun with Lana. I think they need to kind of really go back to the groundworks with her and sort of work on her style.
Yeah. I think they just needed something to fill for Naomi because obviously, if they don't have a women's match, you're looking at 4 matches on the card.
Right.
Or technically 5 because Breezango did have a match with the Ascension. But again, I think, as I was saying, you don't have that much on the card, and I think just throwing Lana in there was also to show, that kind of show the women that, hey, the Money in the Bank contract could be turned in at any time.
Mm-hmm.
We also cannot forget that we saw the debut of Maria, and I'm probably going to butcher this name because I, for some reason, cannot pronounce it. Canellis, I want to say is what it is.
You mean her last name, right?
Yeah, I butcher her last name. Maria Kanellis and Mike Kanellis. Mike is formerly known as Mike Bennett from TNA, ROH, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I know a big thing that WWE is talking about is that he took her last name. I'm just saying this for the females, this is a win for you.
Mm-hmm.
He took her last name in this. I also think that, like TNA or something might own the copyright names to Mike Bennett. So, I don't know.
Well, for me, it's a no-brainer because people will remember Maria for a long time. She was a female wrestler for a very long time on the roster, and before that, she was part of the interview staff. So she was around the company for such a long chunk of time. So for her to keep her name is very important for her coming back into the WWE so that people don't forget who she was and what she did. And now having Mike Bennett assume that name, it also adds to that prestige. Like, oh, wow, well, this is her husband, and this guy must be a good wrestler too, or this guy must be an important wrestler.
Yeah. So we'll see what's to come. I don't know. They kind of showed themselves, and they're gonna be a heel. They showed that annoying, Mike is over here kissing her hand and being all flirty, so they're obviously gonna be a heel persona.
Which is interesting too, because Maria, for the most part in her career, I could even argue for like the majority of her career was a face. So I don't think I've ever seen Maria as a heel, and if I
She's
have,
actually a really good heel. I will defend her.
So I mean, like, it would be interesting for me to see that because I didn't watch TNA, so I wouldn't have known what she can offer. But I'm excited for it if she's going to be a heel, and if she's going to be on SmackDown with her husband. I'm excited for it. I want to see what they bring to the table because I haven't seen their style of wrestling before.
They're gonna be like Miz and Maurice. They're gonna be together as a couple. So.
Well, I mean, and hopefully she gets back into the women's division because she's a heck of a wrestler too.
Yeah. We'll see. I know she had an injury not about a year ago. I don't know if it's gonna cause anything, but. I mean, we really went over everything. I think SmackDown is putting themselves in a good position for storytelling. Obviously, the next SmackDown pay-per-view will be the SummerSlam pay-per-view. They don't have anything lined up in July, I don't think. They could, but if I'm not mistaken, they don't have anything lined up for July. I think they do, though. So let me scratch that. The July pay-per-view is the next pay-per-view, and they really set up a lot of good storylines. I don't know what's next for Shinsuke Nakamura. He could have beef with Baron Corbin because Baron Corbin is Money in the Bank. Just because he's Mr. Money in the Bank doesn't mean he's automatically in the title picture. That could come up at WrestleMania. It could come up Tuesday. We don't know. So Shinsuke Nakamura's next opponent could be Baron Corbin, if you want the truth, since he did get taken out by Baron Corbin at the very beginning of the Money in the Bank match. AJ Styles, I really don't know what's next for him. Could be Dolph Ziggler still because, again, Dolph Ziggler does have a pin over AJ Styles. I want to say Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, because they focused on each other a good bit, could also have a program in the future. On the women's side, I really don't know what's to come for the women's side. If I was to guess, the entire women's division is probably going to go after Carmella and James Ellsworth. They really didn't set anything up. Naomi, I don't know. Lana, I
Well,
don't know either.
that's an interesting perspective too, because if you keep in mind who else was in that match, the welcoming committee was also involved in that match. So it'll be interesting to see how the welcoming committee kind of welcome the idea of Carmella being Miss Money in the Bank thanks to James Ellsworth.
Oh, you could I easily see them breaking it up.
I mean, not that they were a big faction to begin with, but that's something that they tried doing with them, and it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of, oh, well, she won the Money in the Bank, but she won it because of Ellsworth.
Yeah, all the women, I mean, Natty actually said something on Twitter also. We're saying a bunch of negative things about Ellsworth. And that was another thing. We didn't see a debut or a return from anybody, which is something that I thought would happen. So, I was kind of confused. I was expecting to see either Nikki Bella or Paige walk through the curtains. To be honest with you, I really was. They were really kind of hinting at it. But, as I was saying, for the tag team division, obviously the New Day will still be facing the Usos in their really good program. Rumor has it that the Hype Bros are going to be breaking up and that Zack Ryder will be getting a major push. That's not a bad idea. I'd actually enjoy the guy deserves it. So, Jinder Mahal, who knows? I think we're just a few weeks away from July 4th. So, obviously, we could see... we're 2 weeks away from July 4th, so we could see something coming up when John Cena comes back to Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, and you know what? We're looking forward to the next pay-per-view, which is Great Balls of Fire, and I'm still stoked.
Great Balls of Fury.
Or Great Balls of Fury, or whatever it is now.
No, it is Fire. I don't know what it is.
I'm pretty sure it's Great Balls of Fire.
It is Great Balls of Fire. I'm just over here. I just know that it's Great Balls of something.
Right. So, I'm really geared up for this Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar confrontation. I think it's going to be explosive.
I agree. Let's just hope that they don't somehow butcher it.
I don't think they will. I think that they're going to put on a decent match.
Don't estimate Monday Night Raw, Andrew.
Yeah, don't estimate Monday Night Raw. Yeah, that's true. They have the potential of messing up.
Juan HD says Baron Corbin wins. Yes, but I think that might do it for us. This is what sucks about a short card, is it doesn't give us as much to talk about. Andrew, I know you're ready to go watch the rest of it or go to bed.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be watching the rest of it as soon as I get off here.
So, until tomorrow night with the Monday Night Raw review, I'm Blake, and for Andrew, peace out.